G'day guys and welcome. My name is Michael and I am the Dead Aussie Gamer, here to share with you my tips, tricks, ideas and strategies for playing and running tabletop role-playing games. Today we are back with another episode of Rolling With, and today we're going to be discussing young GMs with none other than local GM Tim. Now, Tim I have known for quite a while, as he had once upon a time attended my program for young role players at the youth center in which I work, and he has graciously agreed to join us today and share his experiences as a young GM. G'day, Tim.
Hey Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Awesome, awesome. So, let's start this interview right from the beginning, and of course ask you the burning question. How long have you been a role player? How long since you started playing role-playing games?
Um, it's been a while, and I haven't really thought of how long I've played it for. But like at the least, I've played it for about 3 years, I think.
Mhm.
It's probably a bit more than that, but memory and such.
Fantastic. And since then, how long would you say you've been GMing for?
Um, I'd probably say coming up to about 2 years, I think.
Fantastic. Awesome, awesome. So, uh, as a GM, one of the important things that we always look at is the origins. Where did we start? Where did we begin? What was the moment for you that made you sort of interested in the role-playing game hobby? What was it that kind of drew your eye towards this awesome thing that we do?
Um, I can't really think of a central like origin point, like a this thing wants me it is going to make me play tabletop games. I think it was just a collective accumulation of different um, little bits of media here and there, like Critical Role, that I'd watch every now and then, that sort of piqued my interest, and then from there just grew more and more, to the point where I was joined your game at the youth center, and then again it snowballed more and more until I was like, I want to run games.
Nice, fantastic. And that's really the goal, isn't it? It's to get to a point where we love the game so much that we want to start creating as part of it as well.
Hmm.
Now, when we step into GMing, obviously there are challenges, trials, tribulations that we all suffer. What was some of the challenges that you thought you faced when you first stepped into the ring as a game master?
uh well, the first time GMing was pretty difficult because, again, I hadn't played the game for too long when I started GMing, so the rules weren't fully imprinted in my head. I can just be like, okay, there's that rule for that situation. So I had to constantly flick through the rule book and have to remember, like, oh, which page is for this rule. So it slowed down gameplay a lot. Sometimes it'd be monsters that I couldn't remember where um, their page was. So it was really just general things slowing down gameplay.
Fair enough, and I think that's something that everyone learns over time and everyone grows into. I remember my first time was actually while I was a lot older. I think I was like, let's see, I've been doing it for 10 years, so 23, 24-ish when I started role playing and GMing and the like. And yeah, no, the exact same thing. I found just trying to reference things and trying to keep all my notes together was just a nightmare. So no matter how young or how old you are, you always get to that point where you're always learning and always polishing those skills and those things to make your game even more streamlined and a lot more fun. The next question I've got for you is obviously you've been GMing a few tables for a while now. Can you share with us some of your most memorable moments? What are the things that you think back upon for your games that you GM'd and thought, you know what, I absolutely nailed this?
I'd probably say the most memorable moment wouldn't be a moment, it'd be just a whole character that one of my players had made, which was this lizard folk named Salazar, which he is an absolute character. He has a set, I'm pretty lenient with my rules, so he has like essentially a Mary Poppins bag, like it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. He has like a jar of bees, various assortment of junk in it. He has two pet creatures, a kobold and a goblin, that are just surviving on the food scraps that are just miraculously in the bag. And it like he likes to play dumb, which for a lot of the situations that they find themselves in, it just works perfectly. So overall, just any moment that that character is there, it's a hilarious moment.
Nice, nice. I think it's important. Many GMs, sort of can inspire some of the best moments in their role playing game careers simply by having the right character involved in that scenario, having the right person just shift it and change the dynamics of the story or do something spontaneous and unexpected. Can definitely make a very memorable experience.
Oh, definitely.
Now, as a young GM, obviously you've played local games, but you've also played online games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The character Salazar, he's from my main group that I play with weekly,
Hmm.
which all of them are U.S. international. So I have to sort of wake up pretty early to be able to play with them at a good enough time that they're happy with.
Yep, yep. We're just gonna skip over Aussies waking up early to play with people from the US. Look, I mean, okay, no, I'm gonna say this. Okay, so this is to all people from the US who play with Australians, and you're like, oh yes, no, we've just finished work, and our Aussie friends are coming to play with us. You know what? Once in a while, why don't you guys wake up at 6 in the bloody morning? Okay, just saying, putting that out there. Okay, we wouldn't be hurt. Just saying. All right. With your US table, actually, no, with all your tables, do you have a young group of players or do you have an older group of players? Who do you traditionally GM for?
The main group of people that I play with are people that are usually older than me. I might have tried getting people that around my age to start playing with me, but we all have clashing timetables and such. So it's a absolute chore to try and get a game running for them.
Hmm.
But for online matters, I usually find a lot older people than me playing. Even the main table that I play with, the US one, um, the vast majority of them are a good couple of years older than me,
Hmm.
and only one player is actually just a little bit younger than me. So it's primarily on the older end.
Cool. And does that provide you with any challenges, like having to GM older people? Is there issues with communication? Any kind of, sort of, do you have trouble wrangling them in any way, or?
Um, I wouldn't say there isn't much difficulty or difference playing with younger or older people in tabletop. There are some things, especially if they play a lot of D&D prior, which then in that case, as a younger GM playing with another one, um, they might be they might intrude with like, oh wait, that isn't how that rule works. So um,
It becomes hard to freeform when you have someone correcting you.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we have slowly been improving that side of the sort of communication. And like we've actually had moments where we've had entire sessions where we've just talked about how we're all going with this with the game and all that, and just sort of build build sort of camaraderie between each of us.
Nice. Awesome. Awesome. That's always a great step, especially when you have that open communication. As a older GM myself, I'm kind of like stuck in the middle. I'm not one of the old guard who have been playing D&D since I wasn't born. Uh, and of course, I'm not so young as to be playing with some of the more modern systems. But nonetheless, I always find that everyone's experience is very, very different, and the experiences that you have can be very unique to yourself. For example, yourself, Tim, you managed to play with a very experienced GM for a while before stepping into your own shoes. I know people who have, played one game and then gone, I can DM, don't worry, watch me do this. Oh God, what have I done? I've seen people do that as well. And then, of course, you've got insane lunatics like myself who play, 12 to 15 games a week, who have been playing for far less. But at the same time, if you weigh up how many games one runs, it's an entirely different experience. That being said, I don't think age should ever be something that anyone should be holding to or against any particular GM. Whether or not you are a, 50-year-old GM who has been playing since you were, a wee lad, or if you are a brand new GM on the scene, I feel as though your experiences are going to be unique, and no matter what's going to happen, you're going to have a great time. So the next question I've got for you, which will probably bring us towards the inevitable close, is what advice would you give to young role players looking to get into RPGs, either as a player or as a game master?
I'd probably say the most important thing is just give it a try. There's nothing wrong with going to your local youth center or game shop and just playing a session with the people there, and just sort of getting the feel of the game and seeing if this is what you want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, yeah, no, and there are tons of things out there that'll allow people to really try out their stuff. For example, Free RPG Day is something that happens every year. I think more often than not it's in April, but the date kind of shifts. Stay in touch with your local game store and you'll definitely find out. Certain youth centers certainly do accommodate for role-playing groups, and there are tons of communities out there. There is a software that exists online called Tabletop Finder RPG. I'll put a link in the description below. That you can use to outreach and find other like-minded people, and there are tons of forums that exist, as well as Facebook and etc, etc, etc. The world is massive, and we are now well communicated. Do not be afraid to plunge in, because the RPG community is often very kind, very sweet, very shy, and like I say with most animals in Australia, chances are they are more afraid of you than you are of them. So that being said, I would like to thank Tim for coming and having a chat with us today, and sharing, of course, your wonderful and amazing experience. I wish you many, many, many years of awesome GMing and awesome role playing, and thank you again for joining us.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me.
All right. So, again, guys, if you want to go check out more of these videos, then, of course, subscribe, hit that like button. Go check out the other footage that we've got. We've also been doing a whole bunch of other Rolling With episodes as well. Go check out all of our social media stuff. And if you want to support the Dead Aussie Gamer, head on over to our Patreon page. Actually, new announcement on the Patreon page. We have a new time slot for one of our $40 tier games. So if you are interested in joining me on a table, then head over to there and sign up for that. Till next time, guys, as always, game hard or die trying. See yas!